Hello and welcome to another episode of the Real Life Caddy Podcast. Zabbo's making me laugh. We haven't even started.
It's funny. I didn't think you'd begin this intro like this because you were laughing, but here we are. You've begun.
Well, you've got to go and caddy this afternoon.
I do. I just got the late call. I'm going to that favorite little par 3 golf course to do with late afternoon loop.
Caddying a par 3 course. Absolutely embarrassed. I don't know if I'm more embarrassed for you or for the player.
Yeah, I'd be happy for both of us. Or happy for me because I'm getting paid.
What we got going today?
Yeah, we got some good Caddie stories. We didn't get to a lot of them last time. We got to talk. We were leaving for a loop last time, which we said was going to be memorable. And wow, was it memorable? LA, it brings out the best of people and the worst.
Los Angeles, huh?
Yes.
Just the absolute, sorry folks if you're from there and you're a good person, but our experience is just very, very poor.
Very poor.
What else have we got for the listeners today, Zabbo?
Caddie stories. Probably talk a little about the world of golf. Get to some bits and pieces we didn't get to last time.
Yeah.
A couple of stories from last podcast we didn't get to.
I get something written down that says Super Angry Lady.
Yes.
I put her real name, but then you said, what's her name? And I gave you her name.
What are we going to call her?
Pauline.
Pauline. Good angry name. Pauline.
So,
who peed in your Cheerios?
Yeah. You want to get started?
I can. Would you
yeah,
like me to start?
Well, we may as well finish off where we may as well start where we finished off last time.
Okay, so at the end of the podcast, I shouted out our good friend, or my new good friend, Dion. And Barry. You were out of town. I was caddying for them, so it was an interesting loop, and more so how it started was interesting because we get to the first tee. And we walk up there, and you and I both, we have good relationships with most of the staff on the resort, I would say, with the exception of a few people. Well, this person in particular I know doesn't like you or I. So,
where's this?
Well, it's at one of the courses, but we'll leave it at that. So I get up to the tee, and I'm like, I asked the caddy manager, are they gonna walk, or are they gonna ride, or what this course people typically ride 100% of the time. You know where I'm talking about.
Drive to the ball.
Correct. So he said, well, here's the thing. They want to take the cart, but they're not staying here on property, so they're going to charge them for the cart. And the cart fee is like astronomical. I'm like, well, that's not how it works. If they're taking, that's never how it works at any of the courses. If they're not staying on property and they take a caddy, the cart's going to be included because they're paying the caddy fee. Mm-hmm. So he comes down and he's not mad about it, but Dion's like, they're going to charge us the cart. Well, I'm like, well, what are you going to do? He's like, well, I'm going to walk. I said, well, they're not charging the cart fee. I said, on principle, and I know who was up there. I said, on principle, no. You walk in there, tell them to refund your money. I will carry the golf bag. They're like, do you want a push cart, like a double push cart? I was like, no. I said, I know you think I love the Elwee like no other. They don't have them at this course. But I said, no, you give me the bags, I will carry them. And I said, no, I'm not playing that game. I'm not letting you guys get charged for that. And he went in there, and they relented, and we got the golf cart. Thank God, because I did not want to carry it.
So you just puff in your chest and
I was like, I'm not having it. I said I'm not having it. I will carry the bag. I'm not going to see somebody get taken advantage of and charged a fee that shouldn't be charged. So that's how the loop began.
So you said you were going to carry the bags, and then you didn't.
Well, I wasn't really being honest. I wasn't really going to carry the bags. I mean, let's be honest.
And you wonder why the individual doesn't like you.
It is what it is.
Maybe it's a good reason.
But anyway, so Dion and Barry, by the way, good lads, briefly shouted them out. They were both kind of COVID golfers. And he warned me from the get-go, we're both awful. We're terrible. We're trying to get better. We play a lot. We're terrible. And they both started off like par, birdie. It was crazy how I'm like, yeah, I've heard this before. Mm-hmm. But it was just a treat to caddy for them. They were fun, other than, like I mentioned, Barry was a little slow over the ball, and Dion said, Barry's not going to be happy about that comment, but sorry, Barry, step over the ball, get up and hit it. Yeah, stop wasting time.
Wake up and smell the roses,
Nobody want to see you stand over the ball for 30 seconds.
Nobody wants to see that.
Like I said, he wasn't a very good player. I mean, the true colors came out, but he hit the flag stick on the 8th hole. On the fly, it stopped like 2 feet, little tap and birdie. Got a shout out for that, Dion. That was impressive.
I had a very interesting situation this week, Michael. We always talk about the phantom requests that we get.
Oh yeah, we talked about one last time.
Maybe somebody sees your name in a magazine, or they watch that Oscar-nominated movie about caddies called Loopers or something.
Yes. I heard the opening credits were phenomenal. They had a real good-looking, strapping young lad.
That's it. The eye candy on the thumbnail. I made a phone call to the office the other day I worked, say, Saturday, and the guys I wasn't overly keen, but I thought, hey, decent time of the day, that suits me perfectly for the Monday, 2 days later.
Of course.
So I call the office to say I have a request. They say, oh, we don't have you at 50, we got you at 12:30.
At 50 what?
Yeah, 12:50.
Instead of, so it was
we've already got you at 12:30 for someone else. It
was already on the sheet.
A Rob or something. And I'm like, oh, I don't recognize that name. Now, that was handy that I called, because otherwise they wouldn't have called me.
Never would have made it to you.
I was very intrigued.
Yeah, like, who's this Robert guy? Why is my name on the sheet?
On the sheet. Who is this chap? So
Robert who?
I called my mate to cover the 12:50 or the 12:30, because I was going to turn up and have a...
See just who Robert was, if you recognized him. Usually, if there's a big gratuity involved, you recognize the face. You're like, oh, yeah, that guy hit me up hard.
So I went down to just case the joint out.
Of course.
I'm looking around the tee. I need to ascertain if I'm going at 12:30 or 12:50.
Of course, yeah.
So I need to let the managers know. I need to let the other caddy know. So every golfer that's down there, I'm saying, are you Robert? Are you Bob? Are you Bob? No,
this is like me asking if you know G to that.
Exactly. The boy from Dallas. Nobody was Bob. And eventually, about 3 minutes before the tee-off time, this guy starts smiling at me. And I went, Bob? And he goes, yeah. I said, I have no clue who he is.
Don't recognize him at all.
I said, how do we know each other, Bob? He says, you caddied for us at least 15 years ago.
That's a long time ago.
And I'm going through my mind, and I was like, well, it's definitely not 15. It's either 16 plus, or within 10 years, because I was gone. We ascertained that it's September of 2007. I caddied for Bob and his two mates.
Jeez. That's the year I started out here. That's a long time ago. That's like 17 years ago.
And he says, yeah, I heard, because it was a corporate group. So he'd heard my name being mentioned. Oh, I heard the name Gordon. He's like, oh, it can't possibly be him.
Yeah, can't be.
Can't be.
He had to have died by now.
He must have
he was living
a proper job by now.
Of course.
You know, when you're on the next tee and you say, oh, did you make a bogey? And they went, no, I made a par. Oh, well done. It was for a hack golfer. It was one of those kind of reactions. Yeah. He said, I didn't think for a second you'd be here.
Yeah.
Kind of a condescending type manner.
Yeah, like you never rose up in the world, huh? You're still here.
Pleasantly surprised that I was, still in the trenches.
Yeah.
So
in the caddy game.
And I'll tell you what a player. Eagled the second.
Woo.
Had 5 other birdies.
Nice.
And easiest job ever.
Rehashed old memories from 17 years ago.
Yes. Yeah. He FaceTimed his two mates, who again I didn't recognise either of them.
You caddied for 17 years ago.
Yes. Yeah. However, there was one comment. He said, yes, you described my friend Slats as a disgrace to the golf course and to the game of golf itself. And I said, yes.
It was definitely you that were caddying. Yeah.
So,
nice.
you ever had any? What's the longest in between loops have you ever had?
I've had some long ones. I had one that I started at the Ritz-Carlton in Sarasota back in 2002 that I caddied for like last year. It was pretty crazy. I've had ones just out here where I've caddied for a father and son, and the son was 12 years old, and then he's 30. He's coming out with his buddies, and he's 30 now, and it's like, wow, that really brings you back. Like, I've been in California that long. I remember when that kid was like a 12, 13, 14-year-old, and his dad was bringing him here, and now he's out with his buddies, his wife, his girlfriend, whatever. I've had a few of those.
It's insane.
Eye-opening.
That's insane.
Now that we covered all that, let's talk about our friends from Los Angeles that we had not too long ago, right after the last podcast where we went off to caddy. And as you were saying during that episode, you never know what you're going to get when you go. Could be this, could be that. You could be happy, you could be mad, you could be this. Well, you kind of knew what you were going to get walking into this one, and boy, did we get it.
It wasn't a certain type of people we were expecting.
It was not.
It was actually,
one of them. It was one of them was like there was the dad and 3 sons, and you would all know this family in the sporting world. I mean, it's a very well-known family in the sporting world. And the main guy who you would really know was in the group in front of us, but 2 of his sons were in our group.
Yeah.
And of course, being the gentleman that I am, we walk up to the carts, and I say, Gordon, pick whatever cart you want. Go ahead. And he's like, I'll take this one up here. And boy, I think he picked wrong. What do you think? How do you feel about your pick after the fact?
it wasn't entirely horrendous, but there's a thing that we say where, let's say someone holds a putt and it holds it for a birdie or something, and the player, our people, so they actually really respect us, they like us, they want us, they listen to us, they say, "Oh, I'm just following." Everyone goes, "Yeah, well done." And he says, "Well, I'm just doing what Zabbo tells me. Yep. I just put it where Zabbo tells me.
Hit the club you hand me."
And using your name, it kind of reinforces that relationship.
Of course.
The one dude, he just said, "I just did what my caddy told me."
Yes, he said caddy.
That very much puts you in your place of where he sees you on the food chain. So
100%.
It was very much us are the help and the golfers.
We were the help, and you were the help to a couple of angry guys.
You're
right. Like you had one of the brothers, and I had the other brother. My brother was like super cool, chill. Your guy, he was playing terrible, but he was very angry about it. Gonna give up the game, Mom, Dad.
I just think it always goes back where it's embarrassing to see fully grown men. And trust me, I've been there myself. I've winged clubs. I've snapped them over my neck, over my knee. But I think that I do it with a certain amount of, how you say? You'd still respect me and say, "Oh, yeah." When he's going to get angry, and you're not. Yeah, these guys are just pathetic.
It was sad.
Seeing fully grown men, like big men as well, and just crying about it and wanting to quit the game. But no realistic expectation of how bad they were. They were awful.
Your two guys were, terrible.
And then the one lad you had, he rolled the ball.
Yeah, he kept rolling it to me on the ground, and you're like, "Oh, that's driving you nuts, isn't it?" And I'm cleaning his ball, and then so your older guy was, he was whatever. He is what he is, but his true colors came out towards the end because my guy's rolling it to me all day, and then we get to the 15th hole, the little par 3. He hits it left. Your guy hits it left of the green. My guy's on the green. I'm not really paying attention.
Completely impatient, by the way, my fellow.
Oh, super
will not
impatient.
wait for a club.
Nope. And he goes over and he chips the ball. I guess he chips the ball. I wasn't paying attention. It rolls across the green. I assume it's my player rolling the ball to me, so I just gradually pick it up like a good caddy to clean it. And he looks at me, and I swear to God, he looked at me like I just accosted his mother or something, like violated his mother. And he goes, why is the caddy picking up the ball? Why is the caddy picking up the ball?
Why is he picking up my ball?
He was I've never seen somebody so offended. It's like, bro, sorry, I thought he was marking his ball and rolling it to me.
Yeah, I mean, you said to him, well, I thought you rolled it to me. He's like, why would I roll it to you?
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh. And then the final one was when we're all up on AT&T. Remember that?
Oh, man. Because so it was kind of slow, and there's a little backup on AT&T. So we'll just play it as, 8 players coming in. So all 8 of us are teeing off. And your guys stand there all chatting, standing around, and you're up there, I'm up there, and we're usually not on that tee. And he looks around, there's like 3 caddies, and he looks around, and he probably sees you, but he's looking around, and he goes, will somebody clean my ball? Would anyone clean my ball?
Anyone just clean my ball? And it's like, okay, so you didn't have a problem with the ball being dirty when you hold it for birdie in 17.
Exactly.
But now in front of everyone, you have to make a thing about it.
Yeah.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We need some decent LA people to come up and just change our
minds,
our perspective on that place, because it does. It just, maybe we have to add a tax, a surcharge
in LA. I think we talked about that. Yeah, when they tell us, we ask them where they're from. We say, there's a little LA surcharge to that.
There was a similar scenario. We had a lot of corporate lately, and one of the jobs I did a double, and then my mate did the single. The other fella. Now, I don't get this, because these are all financial people, right? So this boy's coming out here for 4 or 5 days, playing golf every day, staying here. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure he'll be writing off a lot of it.
Oh, for 100%.
But he doesn't want a caddy. He doesn't want to pay for a caddy. But you can just tell he's going to be hitting you up for information the whole time. So he does.
No, those types, yeah.
And he kind of I felt a few times, I don't care, listen, but he's telling the players where to hit it and stuff, and I said to him, I says, well, if the economy goes tits up, you should get a job out here caddying, huh? But we got to 18, and this is the first time it's ever, sometimes where players will shake the player's hands, and they'll kind of forget, the caddy, not on the radar.
Of course, yeah.
And they go, I'm sorry. Then they look the other way and they shake your hand. There's no eye contact, but at least this guy, I went in for the handshake. He shakes the other 3 players. I'm standing right next to the other caddy. He doesn't even look at us. He just turns away.
Seriously?
Yeah. after hawking information. How far is this?
Wow.
How distance is this?
Well, he turned away because he was running back to reach into his wallet, correct?
Sure, yeah. Had to run and tip us both. Really, I said to the other caddy, I said, I've never had that before. It was clinical.
Well, we have this, actually right now, we have this tournament in town. It's singles only. I'm not going to name
Singles?
It's the caddies are all doing,
not married.
No, they're a lot of them aren't. But you're doing all singles. Some of them, high profile players. But anyways, it's like they set it up like a Ryder Cup match. It's the first. No, it's fun. It's actually fun.
Come on, Ryder Cup.
Like a Ryder Cup. I'm not saying
like
identical.
There's nothing like the Ryder Cup.
Well, exactly. Whatever.
The Walker Cup.
So, anyways,
like the
just
Cup.
let me tell the story. So they do two-man teams the first 2 days, and then they play singles. Tomorrow and the next day they'll be playing singles.
No, it's like Ryder Cup then.
Exactly, just like the Ryder Cup. So you're partnered up with somebody different the first 2 days, just like the Ryder Cup.
Oh, wow.
So anyways, the guy we're paired with today is taking a caddy that's been here for as long as I've been here. I actually helped train him when he first started. The caddy tells me he's our partner in the match, and the caddy tells me on the we're 4 caddy position out in the big course in the second hole. He tells me, my guy hasn't asked me for a read or any information all of yesterday. I doubt he will today. And I'm like, well, I'll tell my boy. My boy's not shy. He'll say something to him. So we get out there. My player squibbles one off to the left, and we're out there talking to him. Say, hey, man, I was like, just so you know, that caddy just told me his player didn't ask him for one piece of information all day yesterday. Not a read, not anything, not how far it's playing. I just want to let you know that caddy right there, probably in the last 18 years, has walked these golf courses more than any other caddy out here. I mean, he knows the course. I mean, he's not the greatest, but he knows the greens. He knows the courses. You probably know who I'm talking about. Very, very quiet caddy. Doesn't say, not a lot of words, but this caddy has seen these courses more than any caddy out here.
Okay.
Second hole right in the middle of fairway. As soon as my player hits a shot, I see him walk right over to this guy. He goes, you need to listen to your caddy and tell him. Whoa. He knows these courses. You're my partner today. I want to win this match. Told him, and we ended up winning 3-2.
Wow! So, and like the Ryder Cup, are they using handicaps or is it off the bare feet? Correct?
It's funny you say that. They are not using handicaps.
Oh, so it gets closer to the Ryder Cup.
They each have. There's actually a tour player on both captains on both sides. There's actually a PGA Tour player on both sides, captaining the teams, and they set the pairings the night before. They kind of pair them by handicap. It's actually a fun tournament, but sure. I thought that was pretty cool that my player went up there and said, respect your caddy. Your caddy knows that these courses, listen to him. And it worked.
Never tell you about the one where there were 7 guys, 4 versus 3, and then they said, we're playing a Ryder Cup. I'm like, no, you don't do that.
That's not how it works.
It's 12v12.
Yeah.
You can't have 4 versus 3. And that's absurd.
12v12. That's exactly how this tournament is. There you go.
Well, there you go. Designed that way. I had told you about this angriest lady or person.
Yeah. Let's Pauline.
So there was a bit of an issue in the first tee with bags. They wanted to throw them in a push cart, which, as you know, I don't push a cart.
Not a fan
I don't
of
drive
that,
an Elwee. I'll drive a cart or I'll carry the bags.
One or the other.
And the starter, who poorly trained, he just throws them in the car. The caddy will push this. I see it's 4 ladies. Just my bread and butter.
Yes, that is your bread and butter. And
then it's 3 minutes for the tee off time. And then they're being told, well, you got to change your bags out.
Oh, because you said I'm not. Yeah. That's your right. You don't want to push.
It's like this should have been done 15 minutes earlier. I felt sorry for them in a way because it's now you're about to tee off, first ever time in the big course, and you're having to change your bag out. That's not really what your swing thought should be.
Pauline's not happy about it.
Pauline was raging before I even shook her hand, and it didn't get any better. I don't know. You could tell a lot from Pauline in the first 30 seconds of meeting her, but I've never met anyone so angry in my life on a golf course.
What general area is she from? Just out of curiosity.
Florida.
Okay, well, yeah.
She's retired.
Oh, well, she's not from Florida then.
In her spare time. Yeah, she's from your neck of the woods, actually.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Boston.
Yeah.
Up that way. In her spare time, her hobby is rules of fishing.
Oh, jeez. Rules of
officiating.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
So it is.
Just a joy to be around. Just super pleasant.
Shocking,
yeah.
Right? That's how she spends her weekends, is reading up in the USGA rule book. There was a couple of times on the 10th, I tried to give her some tips. Now, when you tell someone it's 75 yards and they go, I don't have that club, I say, well, what do you have? I'll get 85. Well, let me see it. Choke down, there's 75.
Exactly.
It's pretty simple.
Not rocket science.
And on the 10th, she hits it long. Oh, actually, I'm reading putts really well that day. I'm putting a bit of effort in, really reading them. Because
pretending
I can tell,
you care, yeah.
But I can tell that it's going to backfire on me if I don't.
Of course,
absolutely like laser in. She holes 6 in a row, 6 holes, 6 putts.
Nice.
Read them really well. Didn't say good read, nothing. Gets to the 7th. She hit the putt too firmly for the read I gave her, and it was hands down. Oh,
didn't break.
Oh, didn't break. Look at
that.
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Six good ones.
Forgets about every single one. Yeah, it only takes one bad one to screw up all the good ones.
So we're on 10. And then she hits it long, and she's go, I just don't have that number. I just don't have that number. And I went, Pauline, and I put the club up to show her the 85 to 75 number, and she put her hand up to me, and says, "Don't talk to me about my wedges," and walked on. And I'm just like, no. So I shouted her. She turned around and says,
"Hey!"
I had the finger up, like, no, don't diss me in my office.
Yeah,
and just let her know, you know what, you've met your match today. And I said to her, mate, up the 11th, I said, is she always this prickly? And she said, the last time we had a caddy together, she was complaining because the caddy was drawn to me because she's nice.
Yeah.
Didn't want to deal with Pauline.
Of course, yeah.
And she said she was complaining that I was hogging the caddy. And she says she'll sometimes go at me. And sure enough, in 16, we're trying to explain to her, Pauline, now, you know that hole 16?
Yeah.
There's a bunker. What is it to cover the bunker?
From the ladies' tee?
Yeah.
120?
I had it at 105, 107.
Yeah, conservative 120 is easily over it.
So she's arguing with me about the line off the tee. I'm thinking
because she doesn't think she can carry the bunker or what?
Correct. She wants to hit it towards the bunkers on the right-hand side. And I'm just like, come on, like, what, you can't hit a driver in the air 107?
Yeah.
So this 5-6 minutes it goes on. And then the nice lady I'm carrying for tries to explain it to her, at which point she snaps at her.
Oh, no.
The nice lady goes, well, I'm walking away. And she goes, yeah, that's right, walk away.
Seriously?
Yes, that was it.
She said that to her friend?
Her own friend. And I was like, well, it's not just me at least. But what a hard life. Like, so angry for 4.5 hours, just pure and utter anger. No joy whatsoever. And
was there a hug at the end? Did she give the big G a hug?
No chance.
Handshake?
She gave me a tip that was already rolled up.
Yeah, predetermined.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't actually that bad. But just so I can't understand when the nice lady was hanging with her because she was really nice.
Yeah, what draws those friends together? What keeps them together?
Rules officiating. That's what brings them together.
Wow. I had an interesting one involving the Elwee again.
The Elwee, huh?
Not too long ago. So I was working with another caddy, one of a caddy who's probably a bigger fan of the machine than I. So I walk up to the tee, and there's one on the Elwee and one on the golf cart. And I'm like, okay, well, it's my second loop of the day, no brainer. I'm doing the Elwee. I'm not doing the cart, and it's husband and wife. So
I take it you have more seniority anyway.
Of course, and I'm taking the Elwee. There's no question in my mind that husband and wife is going on the Elwee. That husband and wife is going to be walking back and forth all day. So this other caddy, he's been around a few years, and he's super veteran moves, like probably the most veteran. And the Elwee's a new concept. But you talk about vet moves. The first hole, this caddy made the most perfect production out of why he needed the Elwee. The lady was short left and she needed a different club. The husband was way right. So he's taking a bag off the cart. He's walking way forward. He's walking way back. We played the first hole in probably 25 minutes. And he's pointing at the machine because he doesn't speak the language very well. He's pointing at the machine. He's pointing at the cart. He's saying, "This is just not going to work. We can't go back and forth." And finally, the player flagged down the marshal. Was like, "Hey, we're going to need one of these Elwee machines." And you never saw such a smile on someone's face.
Brilliant.
As soon as he his big smile, he sees the Elwee rolling out. He puts the bags on there, and you talk about a veteran move. That caddy knew what he was doing.
That's tremendous.
Yeah.
It was tremendous.
I could tell what he was doing because it's a long par 5. I could tell what he was doing halfway down the hole. I'm like, oh, he's milking this. He's milking this. We were going to play this whole slow.
That's brilliant.
Yeah,
the Elwee Wars.
It was the Elwee Wars, and he got his way. He got that Elwee, and he was loving every minute of it.
I know who you're talking about, and I can see him just dragging his heels right now.
Oh, it was a thing of beauty. I was watching him the whole time. I'm like, wow, he's working this well, and he did. It worked. It worked.
There's nothing. Did you talk to your players about it? Did you tell them what was happening?
No. They were kind of oblivious. They were an older couple, but I was kind of in awe, and I took notes if I ever need to do that in the future. I'm like, wow, that's a vet move right there.
Sometimes when you have a player, you're caddying for, and you know them quite well or whatever, and you have a situation like that, there's nothing better than explaining to them what's happening, and you kind of narrate the situation. You're commentating. We'll watch this.
Oh
move.
Man, you would have loved this. It was a thing of beauty.
Brilliant. 4. Okay, Zabbo, can't say this in a democracy. You want fan mail or questions first?
Ooh, let's do questions first. Normally I like fan mail first, but let's do questions and then we'll do fan mail.
Questions. First one. I am in the market for a new driver. It's been 20 years. Realistically, how often should a regular golfer buy a new driver? And what are your suggestions on a new driver? That's from Norman Antle, but he doesn't mention where he's from. Norman.
I'm going to do what a lot of our political figures do in debates. I'm going to turn that question into a different question. This is like when you have something that works so well, and I've talked to you about this because I bought those what are those shoes?
Oh yes, Asics.
Yeah, I bought the Asics shoes on your recommendation 3 days ago. Felt great when I was wearing them, and I was like, I'm gonna give them a shot. 2 loops in, I just dropped them off to return them. I'm getting more Hokas because I haven't had plantar fasciitis in like 2 years because I've worn these Hokas exclusively, and I found the shoe that works for me. So it's the same. I think it's the same thing with drivers. If you find something that works, there's no point to change it. And I think a lot of people do that. They change shoes, drivers, golf clubs for the wrong reasons. If you're already hitting it good, there's no reason to change it. Most of these new drivers are not adding length to your game. I don't think there's any reason to change if you're finding fairways and hitting the ball well with your driver.
I'm going to have to disagree with you on a couple of things here.
Shocker.
Asics are the premium shoe
on the
market.
Plantar fasciitis.
What I should have said to you was they're good for normal people, just not hobbits. And if you have webbed feet, they're probably not the right shoe for you.
Different shoes, man. I mean, I'm telling you.
I've always thought that the shaft of a golf club is the most important aspect
100%.
Anyway.
100%.
But you can't tell me that the Motorola pay-as-you-go phone from 20 years ago is comparable to what we have today.
Correct.
So performance-wise, you get a lot more. I can't, with aerodynamics, I think you'll be more accurate with the new club heads, and I do believe they'll go further. And I know this because I bought a new driver. I thought the same as you. I was stuck in the 1960s, and I bought a new driver, and it all of a sudden there's a lot more sweet spots in it.
Yeah.
In 2016, 17, maybe 2018 than there was in 2007.
I don't think every couple years is the answer. Maybe every 7, 8, 5, 7, 8.
We'll agree on that.
Not a lot of these guys, they do it because they have the money and they want the new technology to show their buddies. Got to show them the new AI smoke, bro. You know.
And that's funny. 7 to 8 years, I like that.
Yes.
Suggestions of what you should get?
AI smoke, bro. You're so sweet. No, there's so many good drivers on the market. Any of the new Titleist is good. The new TaylorMade's good. The new Callaway, but you can't beat that AI smoke.
AI smoke, man. I love Callaway. I think they're certainly the one I still have, the Rogue.
Yeah,
it's phenomenal.
Good drivers. And
somebody at Callaway told me that they rushed it to market. They didn't quite have the time to do the right marketing, so it was never. They went straight from that to maybe the Epic, and because I had one of the Epic and I think I hit 8 balls, and then I went back to the Rogue.
Yeah.
So the club head does matter. But Zabbo's right. If you find something that works for you,
stick with it.
Stick with it, and I'll take. What size of shoe are you?
10.5. I can fit into your 11s.
Hobbit feet. Next question. What is the most common golf ball you used at the resort? What's the worst you've ever seen? from a Drew Rodriguez in Tucson. I was about to say Tucson, Arizona.
Well, I think we both can agree the most commonly used golf ball, hands down, Titleist Pro V1.
Pro
V1. I mean, I'd say more often than not, the regular Pro V1 and not the X, but you see a mixture of both.
Is the X is the red number?
Correct.
No. Yes.
Yeah. X is red.
Then after that, TaylorMade
TP5X. You see a lot of those.
And then after
that, I mean, a lot of Strixon, a lot of Bridgestone.
Strixon, Z-Star.
Yeah.
What's the worst?
The worst? I mean, you see your Pinnacles every now and again. See your Nitros. You got to have the Nitro. I mean, you see some weird balls. I mean, you see certainly foreign countries. You see some balls you've like never heard of. We should do like a page on just taking pictures of different
golf
balls that you've probably never heard of. They got some weird brands out there.
This guy I'm caddying for is walking down the 7th at the big course last week. And he picks up a ball. He thinks, a nugget of gold in the rough. And he looks at it. He goes, his face was in complete disgust. It was a Pinnacle, like
there you
say.
Go. Yeah, the Pinnacle gold.
And he goes, what's wrong with these people coming here and using this kind of ball? What? Just because you pay an expensive round, the guy's going to change the habit of a lifetime?
Exactly, and there's a good chance that Pinnacle's probably beating your Pro V. So
yeah, there was another guy I had, the Irish boy actually. I had a couple of Irish lads this past week on Monday. The lad had one of those Callaways from the early 2000s. There were red ones and blue ones.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah.
But he was using one of those.
I remember those balls. I can picture them in my mind. Yeah.
I think that was Callaway's answer to Pro V.
I think so. At the time, yeah. They were one of the few that were challenging them.
I would say the worst would actually... I've seen a few top flights this past year. Whenever there's groups of Asians in, because the odd Asian does hit it off the fairway. They're not as robotic as you think, right? And you'll find one of those nuggets where you can't pronounce the name.
Yes.
And it's almost like this.
Gems.
It looks like it's some sort of ceramic ball that you would shatter the new AI smoke with it. You wouldn't hit it because it's like hitting a rock.
We see some weird golf balls.
Yes.
No question about that. Good question.
That is a good question. Good idea as well, taking photos.
Yes.
Next question is from a Mary Walters, Wauters, Waters, from Fort Myers, Florida. With the rising cost of golf, where do you see the future of golf? I like that question.
That is, it's a tough one to answer. It's interesting because there are rising costs associated. There was a big kind of downturn before COVID. They were closing courses in a lot of states. They were closing courses to build home sites, and then COVID happened, and golf exploded again. And I think it's still growing. It's tough to say, but I think the future's bright. People are always going to play golf. I mean, I don't see it as it's not a sport people get into and then quit. Really, I mean, some of them should quit. They're terrible. They should give up the game. But it's not a sport you start playing and you start hitting the ball and you're like, oh, well, I'm not going to do this anymore. I think people who start playing are going to continue to play. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to continue to grow personally.
Interesting. I'm not so optimistic about it.
Of course you're not. Why not?
Realistic.
But why not?
I think a lot of people are getting squeezed out of the game.
You think cost is really inhibiting a lot of people?
100%. Yeah. Absolutely. The cost of everything in life right now is
true. The cost of private clubs has shot through the roof. Initiation fees are back up. They're not giving as many deals to younger people as far as initiations. It's depending on where you live.
I look at our situation as caddies, and when I first worked out here 20 odd years ago, we could go to any one of 7-8 courses locally and get a cracking rate.
A smoking deal.
Now, granted, some caddies completely ruined it for everyone else, but I don't think that was the only reason. There's the demand. They don't need that kind of cheap golf anymore. And, if you had kids, where are you going to send them? I'm not against, but things like the first tee and youth on course and things like that.
You're against that?
No, I'm not against it, but I don't. Okay, if you do this, you can play golf. Is that if you play by our rules, you can play. There's criteria to it.
Well, there is criteria, but it's not bad criteria. It's
not bad criteria, but there's something attached to it as opposed to just going out and playing golf. Like when I grew up, it was unbelievable. You could join one of every golf club.
Yeah.
And it was so cheap. The course I grew up on, the 9-holer in my hometown, will eventually, in the next few years, it will be done. There is nobody out there. So it seems that certain areas that the game is growing. There just seems to be a huge gap at the top of the game.
And I think that's going to continue to be the problem. There'll be gaps. The gaps will get bigger. And the question is, how do you continue to get youth into the game if the costs rise so much? That's the problem.
Yeah, a lot of people want golf who don't like golf. They want the course shut down for housing.
Yeah, but I think programs like Youth on Course, like the First Tee, I do think that helps mitigate that to get youth into the game. I think that's a big driving factor. Drive, chip, and putt, get kids into the game. I think that does help get kids into the game, which is what we need for the future.
Mm-hmm. Next question. Will you boys be watching the Solheim Cup? That's from Charlie T. in Birmingham, Alabama. Roll Tide.
Is it? Isn't it going on right now?
Will you boys? Well, obviously the answer is
yeah, I've been watching it a ton, bro. I've been watching every minute of it. No. But in our defense, I don't think either of us watch the Ryder Cup either. We don't care. I don't care about the Solheim. I don't care about the Ryder Cup. I really don't care at all. It doesn't tickle my fancy. I have no interest in watching the Ryder Cup or the Solheim Cup for that matter.
Simple answer, Charlie. No. Last question. Have you ever tried to get players to quit when the weather is awful? That's from a Paul Fergus in County Antrim, Northern Ireland.
Well, Paul, does a bear shit in the woods? Of course, we're constant. Well, I try to get him to quit when it's sunny out. I'm like, well, you see that cloud over there? Yeah, that could have some hail. But it's 70 and sunny. I'm telling you, I've seen this happen before. That cloud could get over here, and yeah, we get him. We tried it. We plant that seed early. The weather. Put it this way: the weather is never getting better. Like if it's kind of raining, it's going to get worse. If it's not raining yet, it's going to be raining. If there's a chance of rain in the forecast, yes, we're trying to get you to quit. We like our jobs, but yeah, we're just happy getting paid and going home early.
I have a different approach now. I have a totally different mentality.
Seriously?
No, because whenever someone goes, I think we'll only play 9. I'm like, no, you're playing 18. Because there's nothing, you can't get your mind set to, he's only going to play half a week. And you're just disappointed. Wow. Under promise, over deliver. So when I go in the first tee and it's raining, I know I'm out there for 5 hours. That's it. And anything else is a bonus. But if you're prepared, you're warm. As long as your feet are wet. As long as your feet are wet. As long as your feet are dry. And your head and the hands are dry. Yes. That's all that matters. The rest of the body can be soaking.
Your goal is to get their feet wet.
I personally don't particularly go out in the rain much anymore. The one time, I've probably mentioned it before, Big Tony gave me a job. 3 guys. I don't look at the weather forecast. And no, I don't have rain gear. So go out there and it's coming sideways. And I remember there was hailstones. And the rain was coming down so hard with wind that the back of my legs were getting sore. It felt like somebody was sort of, in the Amazon where they kill birds with one of those things. It felt like
dart gun, yeah,
dart guns.
Yeah, been there.
And 2 of the 3 guys wanted to quit, and I said, "Let's just get to 7 and play the postcard hole." And that was the worst thing because
weather turned nice.
Weather completely changed.
Yeah.
Sun came out. It was beautiful, and they were like, "Oh, this is wonderful." So we played the whole round. I did dry off by the end. Myself and Eddie, when we were in Arizona earlier this year, it was classic. Again, similar situation. Unprepared, and it was raining like sideways in Arizona. You know what I mean? I'm not expecting it. I went with shorts, dude. Yeah. I went with shorts thinking, hey, this will be beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely lashing down. We have a caddy. I think he was a caddy. Didn't even clean my ball once. But the first 7-8 holes of that round, I don't think he realised what we did for a living because he was bringing out every line in the book, talking about the skyline, and if you can't see, he said, because in Phoenix they have all these kind of like pyramid mountain things. He's like, well, if you can't see that, that's a really
bad sign. Bad sign.
Oh, the really heavy stuff's coming. Oh, it's so cold. Can you? I'm surprised you guys can even grip the club. It's so cold. Oh, my hands are so cold. He was so uninterested.
Of course.
And I thought to myself, mate, I have used every single one of those lines. I've delivered it way better than you did. And no, we're not going to quit.
And they still didn't quit.
Couldn't quit. So if you have any questions, send them in on social media or email them, podcast@glorifieddonkey.com. Zabbo, your favourite part of the episode?
Fan mail. Let's hear it.
Fan mail. Somebody's from Long Beach. Now, again, unless you put your name, we don't know who it is because it's just the last 4 digits of the phone number.
Okay.
So somebody from Long Beach, which is, where's that?
Southern California.
California.
Yeah. It's not too far from LA.
It just says, it's pronounced Tagalog, not Tagalog. Ta-go-la.
Yeah, that could be what. Check Jared Lagers the last. That might be him because he was telling me about that. You pronounced it wrong.
Tagalog. What is it pertaining to?
Remember we were talking about you caddied for the people and they're Filipino and you were saying, you know what language they speak there? And I said they speak Tagalog, and he's like, well, that. And then I saw Jared not too long ago. I bet you what's here.
Oh,
I bet you it is Jared.
I thought it was to do with the golfer Tagala.
No.
Okay.
Tagalog. How does he pronounce it?
Tagalog. Well,
is the last 4 digits? We're not going to say so, but
I don't have them. I don't
7.
know.
Oh, you don't.
I don't have
Gotcha.
But I'll tell you what. Whoever you are,
it was Jared.
It's pronounced Bell N. Okay.
There you go.
Next one. New Jersey is the Golden State. Garden City, Long Island, New York. And okay podcast, but a bit too much dribble and not enough substance. Any interviews with key folks upcoming?
We'll keep you posted, but thanks for that. We appreciate you.
Brilliant, isn't it?
I like it.
A bit too much dribble and not enough substance, Zabbo.
What kind of substance are you looking for, bro? Why don't you go get yourself an AI smoke and get back to us?
He's from Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah, of course you are.
So that was pertaining to
also Los Angeles.
Something we said, I guess, about where it was. Thanks for the Groove It brush recommendation. It not only cleans the club well, it's also great for cleaning balls. And that's from Seattle up in Washington.
I found that too. Yeah.
Zabbo loves his, I tell you.
I do, and I've been catching a lot of flack from other caddies for it. Yeah, because I carry it's big and bulky, and I already carry a lot of stuff in my bib to begin with, and it hangs off the side of my bib, but it works like a charm. It's an amazing tool.
You literally I would put less in a suitcase than you have in your bib.
I know. I need some things. Yeah.
You wear the Groove It brush on the side like a dad would have his phone clipped in.
It's funny because a couple of caddies are like, "You going to be like this other caddy and get a fanny pack next, bro?" I'm like, "Get out of here."
So there you go. It's also great for cleaning balls. Fantastic. Thanks for using my question. Also great that Zabbo's mother-in-law wrote in.
Did you insert that yourself, or was that?
No, it was just that's the fan mail.
Oh,
next one. Big G stroke Zabbo. Spelt your name right. Nice. Thanks, guys. Love the show. I'm a long-time looper as well, and the show is a great laugh. And G, I've been over to Scotland the past few years to play with my brothers. And what a special place. Special needs. I work at MacArthur in Florida in the winter and Secession.
Nice.
Beaufort, South Carolina in the fall.
Does he have a 98 Ford Explorer that he polishes all the
time? That's funny, you remember that. Used to run a caddy program in Colorado all summers, but stayed home in Maryland to look after family this summer. Anyways, all the best. Thanks for the great listen. And that's from Kenny Durer from Maryland.
Thanks for listening.
Well, there you go, Kenny.
Yeah.
Yes, I used to spend a winter at Secession.
Yeah.
Fantastic place. Really, really, really good place. Good courses. And if you ever get a chance, there's a place just south of it called Kalawasi Island in South Carolina.
I've heard good things.
Fantastic golf. So there we go. Brings us to another end of a podcast, Zabbo. Shoutouts. What you got?
I got a shout out Jay Green and Sarah Green. Hopefully they're going to be listeners. Told them about the podcast. Jay Green. This is going to be my only shout out because this is a bit of a story, but it was pretty awesome. I I caddied for this husband and wife. It was their first anniversary, and we're on the first tee at the Wii course. And I said, so you played out here before? He's like, no, but I've caddied in the last few 18 tees. I was like, oh, who'd you caddy for? And he was Grayson Murray's caddy. So anyways, he caddied for Grayson Murray for a couple years, and caddied for him and his wife. They met playing college golf. It was like the easiest loop I ever had. It was off in Elwee. Oh. He had 16 pars, a birdie, and a bogey. She had 15 pars, a couple bogeys. I mean, it was the easiest loop I've ever had. So shout out to Jay and Sarah. Pleasure caddying for them.
Was it a Ryder Cup format?
It was not. That was a nice little match against the husband and wife, and it was fun.
I would like to say a shout out to Robert Stallburn. Great to see him after 17 years.
Mm-hmm. What about Pauline?
Now think about it. I remember every shot that Robert hit that time, yes.
Nice. Of course you do, yeah.
Peter Tacticos, good Caddie Stories this month. Sounds like you are busy and are having some laughs. Enjoy the fall. He is the rules official. He's not as boring as Pauline.
He's not like Pauline. He
actually quite enjoys it.
He has fun.
And also David Littrell, who's a long-term listener.
Nice.
And thoroughly enjoys the podcast. So...
We were recording that whole time, weren't we?
Oh, yeah, we're recording.
Okay.
Zabbo.
You had a blank look on your face like we weren't recording.
I know.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Go out there, enjoy the caddying at the par 3.
Thank you. I shall. I'll report back.
Yeah. Highly embarrassing.
Hopefully it's a scramble again.
So embarrassing. But yeah, in 2 weeks' time, I think we have our Tim O'Neill.
We do. Look forward to that.
Interview with Senior Tour Pro. Listeners, get out there, listen to previous episodes, share the podcast, get out there, enjoy your golf, but more importantly,
keep it humble.